All right, inside this frame, within the same pasture, we see tall fescue, mostly Bermuda grass, a few plants of Dallas grass, and a couple of plants of Virginia pepperweed. We're going to concentrate on the Bermuda grass out of this. We're looking at a Bermuda grass plant. Bermuda grass is a warm season grass. It has both rhizomes and stolons. A rhizome, you remember, is a stem that's underground and runs for a distance, then emerges through the surface of the soil. A stolon is a stem that lies over on the surface of the ground and roots at each node to can become a new plant at each one of those nodes. You'll notice none of these stems that we're holding here have been in contact with the soil. They've been forced to be upright because of the age of the plant and the density of the plant. We'll show you in a few minutes what it looks like, what a stolon looks like, and what a rhizome looks like. All right, I'm going to pull the leaf blade back, and where the leaf blade and the sheath intersect is the collar region on this Bermuda. The collar of Bermuda grass does not have auricles like ryegrass or like the small auricles on fescue. The base of the leaf blade has very, very tiny pubescence or hair on it. The ligule on Bermuda grass is a fringe of hair. And you notice the sheath is split. I'm pulling it away. If you notice how I'm pulling this, I'm pulling it away. So the sheath is a split sheath. The leaf blades are fairly narrow. They have not a real prominent mid-vein right up the center part of the leaf blade, but you can see it fairly easily. It's just not as prominent as on orchard grass and some other grasses. Not nearly as prominent as for Dallas grass. The tip of the blade, let me change leaves here because this particular leaf is dead. Let's go to this leaf blade here. I'm going to pull this through my fingers, and when I get to the tip of this leaf blade, notice how pointed the tip is. Not dissimilar from many other grasses, but very pointed. There's no seed head on this one. It has an arrangement called a raceme. The vernation on Bermuda grass is rolled. Fescue is rolled. Annual ryegrass is rolled. Crabgrass is rolled. Orchard grass is folded. Dallas grass is folded. Rescue grass is folded. These all originate from one point. This is not a panicle, this is a raceme. The seed head is in there. Bermuda grass will be in clusters of 4 to 5 racemes. All right, Bermuda grass is strongly rhizomatous, which means it has a lot of underground stems that run beneath the surface of the soil, then emerge. All right, here is a rhizome that's just beginning to emerge, and here's one that's already emerged. See the green leaf tissue already forming? This is just a few days older than this one. Now this tiller here is a stem that has emerged several days ago, and you can see it's already formed 3, 4 green leaf blades on it. Here's another rhizome that we just uncovered. It's been running horizontally below the surface of the soil. Notice the color and notice that it has not emerged yet, therefore there's no green leaf tissue on it. Now as I peel the soil away, hopefully we can see, you can get a better view of, there's another bud at the end of my finger that's going to emerge through the surface of the soil and make a new plant. See, this is just a mass of rhizomes. What I'm holding now is a stem. Let me just drop this for a minute. I'm holding now a stem that was running along the surface of the soil, and it had rooted at 3 different nodes. This stem here was all above the ground. You can see it's got dead leaf sheath on it. The name of this stem that's running along the surface of the soil is a stolon. When it comes in contact with the soil, it will send down roots and initiate buds that will make new top growth. And if you follow the stolon on out to this next node here at this point, there's no root development and no new stem development, probably because that was not in contact with the moist soil surface. The node has to be in contact with soil and moisture before it will initiate roots or new tiller buds. All right, the point of growth on this plant is just like the others. The main growing point is at the base of the tiller, where most of the cell division and enlargement is taking place, and it's pushing the leaf blades outward. So this is the oldest leaf, next youngest, and then the very youngest leaf blade is this one right here. Okay, the bases of the growing points on these plants are at the nodes, and at every node there's the option to develop roots or a new shoot. And because there's stems beneath the soil surface, and as well as stems running along horizontal on the soil surface, as in addition to stems that are just vertical, upright, you have all those different points of growth on a plant like Bermudagrass. And that's why this grass is so tolerant to grazing or clipping, and tremendous amount of defoliation it can tolerate, because it has growing points at really, you might say, three locations: below the soil surface, right on the soil surface, and then on elevated tillers. And that's different than things like orchard grass and fescue, because their growing point is at the base of the tiller, and if in addition their reserve energy is in the base of the tiller. Whereas on this particular plant, on Bermudagrass, this whole rhizome that's below the surface serves as a vast storage organ, almost like a potato. Has lots of energy here that can be stored, cannot be consumed by animals or destroyed by clipping, which makes it a lot more tolerant to close, continuous, or frequent grazing or mowing. All right, what I'm showing you here is a Bermudagrass stolon. It's a stem that runs along the surface of the soil and roots at a node. Now, there's a little root system beginning right here at the next node down here, about 1.5 inches. Another root system has initiated, plus a new tiller. This tiller here can develop and run any number of directions and produce its own nodes and root systems and spread. That's one thing about Bermudagrass, because it does have these above ground horizontal stolons. It spreads into vacant areas very easily. The other thing about stolons with growing points all along here is, if you think about this stem lying just on the surface of the soil, it's pretty hard for an animal to eat that. I mean, many animals can't bite that close to the soil. A horse can, a cow usually cannot. A goat or sheep may be able to get the leaves off of it, but they rarely ever take this stolon and completely eat it. So we've got a stem that's running along horizontal on the surface of the soil called a stolon. All right, now I'm holding a Bermudagrass plant that has 2 underground stems that's running horizontal, but they're beneath the surface of the soil. So these underground stems are called rhizomes. So Bermudagrass spreads by rhizomes, and it spreads by stolons. Plus, this tiller here is an upright tiller, much like any other type of forage plant. So it has 3 ways of spreading: below ground stems, horizontal surface stems, and then the aerial stem, which can form a seed head and reproduce by seed. Or if you cut any of this with machinery, a knife, or whatever, as long as any one of these, the stolon, the rhizome, or the stem, as long as any one of the nodes from any one of those come to contact with the soil and moisture, it will sprout, make new roots, and make a new plant. So this plant is really easy to get established. It spreads very quickly over the surface area of the soil. It's very difficult to control if you actually want to get rid of it, because it does spread by seed, it spreads by stolons, it spreads by rhizomes. Fescue, orchard grass, the brome grass, all of those usually just spread by seed. They don't spread by underground stems or surface stems. All right, the thing about Bermuda grass that makes it tolerant to frequent close grazing compared to some of the other grasses is that a lot of the excess energy that's produced in the leaf area that's not needed for growth is sent to storage organs below the ground into the rhizome, or storage organs that are running along the surface of the ground that root at every node, a stolon. The stolon and the rhizome both serve as very good storage organs, and both of them are so close to the soil or beneath the soil that animals cannot graze them off. Now, things like orchard grass, fescue, bromus, sorghum Sudan, several other kinds of grasses, the storage for the energy storage is in the base of the plant that's above the ground. With Bermuda, that storage organ is below the ground or right on the surface of the ground. Therefore, animals can't consume that storage organ. So the growing points are usually not in danger on either plant, but the storage organ is. So that's the basic difference. And where that surplus energy is stored is really the basis for our recommendations on how close to graze or cut and how frequently we can graze or cut.